Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Out in the beautiful moorlands in the woods on my property, and it's just a glorious day. It's nearly spring. Well, is it spring? It's nearly Easter. I guess it's kind of spring because the clocks have... I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, today we are going to be looking at something that I know a lot of you have been asking questions about. I appreciate I have slipped behind on some stuff with the stuff that went on at Christmas, but today I'm out and I'm going to do loads of filming. So what we are here today to look at is the Helikon-Tex Mistral jacket, or Mistral Anorak, sorry. So yes, I know you've seen this and I know you've been asking a lot of questions about this. I thought it was time that we made some content, and especially to a few of you that I've been able to reply to your comments as well. The Mistral jacket is very, very similar to the Helikon-Tex Woodsman jacket, which I already own. So here, jacket. If I say jacket, you know I mean anorak. I've just got jacket in my head, just in case you hear that. Yeah, so I already own the Woodsman Anorak, so I thought what it would be useful to do today is we'll have a look at this, we'll have a look at the similarities between the two, in case you're wondering what they are, but more importantly, we'll have a quick look at the differences so that you can understand that although these are very similar jackets, they're actually quite different, down to a few choices that Helikon-Tex have made, so that you really can see that they are both completely separate anoraks as such. Now, before I start, I want to say a huge thank you to Military First. Military First is a partner that I've been working with, long-time friend and partner of the channel. Military First must be, in fact I'm sure they are the largest UK supplier of military and outdoors gear. It made perfect sense. They were like, oh, you know, Randy, we want to talk to you about working with Moorlander EDC, the premier EDC and outdoor channel here in the UK. And I was like, lads, it's a deal, let's do this. So you've probably seen, especially a lot of the Helikon-Tex gear that I've reviewed over the years has come from Military First. Not only are they, you know, a huge UK supplier, but they also supply to the to Europe, sorry, and the rest of the world, and have a large selection from a lot of different manufacturers. So yes, definitely check them out. Full disclosure, yes, of course, this was sent to me today, but with the awesome relationship that I have with the guys there, I'm perfectly free to give my own opinion. Now, spoiler, I loved the Woodsman jacket, Woodsman Anorak, and yeah, this is actually generally a really good anorak, and it's good because of the differences between the two. So yes, I will leave all of Military First links below so that you can see more from them, but for now let's take a closer look at the Mistral Anorak from Helikon-Tex. Now, as I usually try to do before starting looking at any sort of garment, I thought I'd give you some information about me so that you can know roughly how the sizes work. So I'm 5'10", which is what I think that's 176 centimeters. I'm about 220 pounds, 210 pounds, which again is about 100 kilos. I have a 42-inch chest. I don't know what that is in centimeters. I always forget. Is it 83 or what? You know, whatever it is. Generally, I will go for a European large. This is a European large, and it fits me perfectly. I think if I'd have gone for the larger size, it would have been easier, possibly, to put something underneath this. Now, at the moment, so I'm wearing a flannel, and I've also got a t-shirt underneath here. When I was in Germany a few months back, I had a thicker flannel underneath. I also had a thicker t-shirt as well. Still had plenty of room, still, you know, didn't have to worry about mobility or anything. But yes, so for a large, this fits just right. Now, as we usually do, we'll go through some materials, and then we'll have a look at some of the features and colours and all that sort of thing. With this being Helikon-Tex, As you can expect, they have a ridiculous variety of colours. I think there are 7 or 8 different colours, all the different sizes that you'll need, from small all the way up to, you know, whichever way they go. The material on this, and this is one of the differences between the Mistral and the Woodsman that's just sat behind me there. So this is made from the... So I'm just editing this and I've noticed that I keep saying VersaStretch when I knew in my head that it was StormStretch. Sorry. Yeah, every single time I say VersaStretch, it's not VersaStretch. It's the StormStretch material. So I felt like I had to correct myself on this one. Enjoy the rest of the content. VersaStretch. I forgot then for a second. I was thinking, what is it made from? This is made from the VersaStretch material. So the VersaStretch material has this really nice kind of full-way stretch. Not too much, I will say. With the combination of materials in here, it does make it very strong, but it just gives it just a little bit more of a stretch. So through the back, it's great. You certainly don't have any pinch there whatsoever. Again, through the chest, through the shoulders, all of this is made from the VersaStretch material. It is, I suppose, classed as more of a spring, summer, autumn jacket rather than an autumn winter jacket. There is no not fleecing, but there's no sort of insulation in this. It certainly works very well for a 3-layer system. With the thinness of the material though, it does feel as though that this is more of a mid-layer. I think the mainly that just comes down to how nice and light this is. But yes, it does feel more like a mid-layer, which I don't think that's an issue, but more of an observation, whereas the Woodsman definitely feels, because it's heavier, it uses the Dura canvas on there, it definitely feels like an outer layer. But again, that's more of an observation. You know, I have been wearing this as an outer layer whilst I was away in Germany. I had it there, it kept me warm whilst I was away as well. As far as any sort of coating on here, there is a waterproof coating to this, and yeah, while I was away and you know while I've been testing this, I've had this, I actually got this before Christmas, so it's been a bit of a while to get this out. Snow, yeah, it just you know, it just brushes off. In a light rain, it will keep you dry. In a heavier rain, which I haven't tested specifically because I know in a heavier rain eventually it will soak through, and you know, you need to have a hard shell on the outside of this. Now, features wise, on the front there is a full half zip, or I suppose some of you might class this as a 3rd zip. So for me it comes down just around about that kind of mid-chest nipple area. On the inside there is a sleeve on here to make it easier to close, and then as it gets up to your chin there is also a part on there, and then on the front as well, just here, that cuff goes around the zip to help to protect your zip, help to protect your beard. On the inside here you also have some pulls which just go up to here with a pinch, so should you need to give the hood a little bit more of a tighten, then the pulls are just inside here. Now when it comes up, for me, you know, it comes up just above the mouth, which is great, especially in the winter, because you can nuzzle yourself within there, and it does just enough to stop that wind from coming over there. The hood has a firm brim on here, and again on the inside, should you want to pull these down so that you can get a tighter fit to your face, of course you can do that as well. And there is also on the back here some further adjustments so that you can make sure that that will fit around your head too. Just in case you're doing some climbing, some orienteering, some abseiling, all of that sort of stuff, I have tested this with a dirt lid, and it will perfectly come over the top of a dirt lid so that you can have it on the outside, which will again help to keep your head nice and warm. Now moving down So across, just underneath the chest here, hopefully you'll be able to see that we have this really nice wide open kangaroo pouch pocket on the front. On the inside at the moment I have my car keys, I also have my lens cap, but to help with the organisation in here there are 3 or 4 pockets on the inside. So if you're using this whilst you're out in the countryside like this, if you want to keep a knife, if you want to keep a compass, a map will fit perfectly across the front here as well. GPS, anything that you want to store, you can perfectly store in here. And it also has, where have the zips gone? Oh, I did it both sides, didn't I? So there are double zips, so whether you're, lost it for a second then. So whether you're a righty or a lefty, or whether you just prefer to have them in the middle so that you can open it, but also as well, if it is, you've got that light rain and you know that there's something in your pocket here that you want to have quick access to, then you can make sure that you just open the zips where you want to. Over the zip you have this large rain hood, which is great. Again, in a light rain the water just beads off this, runs down the front and doesn't need to go anywhere near the zip itself. The zip that is on here is a YKK RC zip. Snag resistant, extra durable. YKK zips, you know, they're the best out there really, aren't they? So that's the kangaroo pocket here. Now, if you prefer more of a traditional pocket, so coming in just kind of below there, there is a full pass-through pocket that goes all the way through there. Now, I will say with this, so when you have got a backpack on and you're using the waist strap does sit as it's supposed to. If you're using your waist strap properly, it should be just above your hips, kind of where those love handles are, which unfortunately is just where these pockets are. Now for your kangaroo pocket, getting into there, not an issue whatsoever, but if you prefer to use these, it's certainly not a struggle, mainly because the opening for the zip is at the top, so you can pull it down. But I will say that if you have a waist belt on there, you might find that getting into those pockets is just slightly impeded. Arms, so hopefully you'll be able to see on each of the arms, you do have a bicep pocket, and in there is a mesh lining. Oh, I forgot to say, sorry, so on the inside of these pockets, so there is a mesh lining. If you find that you're out and you want to work with some heat reduction, just simply opening these pockets, especially if you've got nothing in there, opening these pockets and then the vents that you have under the armpits is absolutely amazing. It's ridiculous how much air you can get flowing through this. And on the flip side, closing all of these pockets, it's brilliant at just how much air it stops from getting through. I run hot 365 days a year, so the ability to be able to just open something to help to regulate my heat is an absolute godsend. So yes, bicep pockets on both sides, so whether you're a lefty or a righty and prefer to go to whichever pocket you choose, you have that option. All of the zips have these, although I am struggling to find them today, and they're all very glove friendly. They all have these little pulls on there. Rather than using like a 550 paracord pull, it uses the same VersaStretch material to be able to pull those down. And then we also have some hook and loop on both sides on the biceps for anything that you might want to put on there. Working our way down the sleeves as we go down the jacket. The sleeves, both sleeves have this really nice cuff closure on there. Generally, I tend to keep mine as the widest that they will go. It just makes it easier to get over gloves. But again, you know, if it's the winter, if it's raining and you want to stop some of that cold air from coming up, you can cinch these down and, you know, yeah, it's very good at that. Now, similarly to the cuffs on the sleeves, as we go further down the jacket, we also have 2 elastic bungees here, so should you want to pull this in. Now for me, as this comes down, if I move a little bit further, you'll see that it comes just below my butt. my arse. So when you have some of that light rain, it will just skirt off across the bottom. It also means, I keep looking at I've mentioned my backpack a few times today, and I keep looking down at it there. Obviously you can't see it. But what it also means is if you're carrying a backpack and you are using the waist belt on there, as I'm sure a lot of you know, after a while your clothes do start to ride up to a certain point where you get that scrunch on the back. It just means that if they do ride up, you've still got quite a bit of clearance at the back. And again, if you really wanted to fasten this down so that you can really hug it underneath your arse at the back, just by cinching in some of these little extra bungee sections, you can do that. I did mention, although I didn't go back to it, so underneath the armpits on both sides you have these large opens which go down roughly halfway down my bicep to roughly about halfway down my ribs, and then on the inside, so if I come a little bit closer, you'll be able to see that you have this really nice strong mesh that Helikon-Tex use a lot of. I'm just checking, because I have noticed on a few that they have, I can't quite see here, so what I'll do is I'll make sure I leave a note here, because I have noticed recently that Helikon-Tex have doubled over that mesh just to make sure, so you still get the same amount of air through there, but it helps with dust and debris to stop that from getting in when they've doubled it over. So this is the Mistral. Now, as I say, so this really, if you were to look at the two, which we will do now, the Mistral is the lighter, breathable, more kind of carefree brother of the two. So let me just quickly take this off. Because of the stretch that you get in the VersaStretch material, it's very easy to be able to take off over your head like a pullover, like that. You will find with the Woodsman, I'd be lying if I said it was a struggle to get it on and off. It really isn't. It's not at all. But because this uses the Dura canvas, it is just, I don't know, you pull that one off and your clothes don't tend to come off with you. You pull this one off and often you end up pulling all 3 layers of what you've got underneath off. So the way in which that they've worked around that, specifically for donning and doffing, on the Woodsman you have these really large zips. Now the large zips on here go all the way down from the waist all the way to halfway down the bicep there. So that does mean that if you need to take this off, then it's a lot easier to do that. What it also means is as well, which I've found, which is actually quite useful, is if you're ever in one of those positions where you get back somewhere and maybe you need to put an extra layer on underneath, you can unzip these, take your arms out, put the other layer on if it is that it's a jacket or an insulated jacket or something like that, because you don't have to get it over your head, and without even having to take this off. So you put it on underneath, put your arms back through these arms and zip yourself down and you're done. That's a nice little tip for you. Right, so where were we? We were talking about the difference in materials. So with the Woodsman, there is some VersaStretch on here. I'm just trying to remember where it is. It's on the back. So through that back panel, that's where your VersaStretch material is. So pinch on your back, none whatsoever. On the front, this is where your Dura canvas material comes in, and that's one of the huge differences between the two. So the VersaStretch, nice and light, it almost is like a second skin when you have it on. Super breathable, super comfy, and yeah, you know, you're out, you're climbing around stuff and doing whatever it is that you need to do. But you worry just in case you catch it on something. With the Dura canvas, you really don't have to worry about catching it on anything. You know, you just go and do whatever you want. You go bushwhacking, you're climbing through thickets, you're climbing through brambles. You just don't care, because this material gives you that kind of confidence just to, I'll just wade through this shit. You know, I can do it because it's nice and tough. We'll also say This one fits a lot larger. Hopefully you will have noticed, and if you haven't, just rewind 5 minutes before when I had that one on, and then fast forward back to where this is again. This one 100% feels like an outer layer, because underneath this, as I've done in pieces of content that I've done in the past, I'll have had an insulated jacket underneath here, then I'll have had probably a mid layer and a t-shirt on underneath that as well, and still had plenty of room to have freedom of movement no matter what it is that I'm doing. And these are both the same size as well. So I'll put it down there again, I'm pointing at something that's off camera. The Mistral fits like a hoodie would do, whereas the Woodsman fits slightly larger. So if you are after something that you specifically know that you're going to use more as a layer system, then I would definitely say go for the Woodsman, or go for a size above if you definitely want the Mistral. If you're usually a large, then go for the extra large because you can fit more underneath there. Naturally with this one, you can just fit more underneath it. Now as far as features, you still have the same large hook, large zip open. All of your toggles to adjust the hood are all within here. The hood does feel slightly larger on this one. Again, if you're wearing a dirt lid, if you're going out and you're doing some climbing and stuff, you can put one underneath here and it will you still have cinching points all around here so you can get it to fit your head. You still have a large kangaroo pouch pocket with all of those additional pockets on the inside. Still have your pockets here. With this, when it comes to bicep pockets, there are no bicep pockets on the Woodsman. If that's something that's important to you, this is where maybe some of the concessions come in, whether you want to go for the Mistral or whether you want to go for the Woodsman. So yes, there are no bicep pockets on the Woodsman. Going down, so we still have cloth closures should you need them, and then you also have your elastics on here. Now the elastics on here, so there are 4 elastics, mainly because this whole thing splits open should you need to. So you have some elastics here for this front panel to cinch that in, and then you have 2 elastics on the far side to cinch that back end in as well. If you need to do heat management, you are missing the bicep pockets, but you can still open the side pockets. You can still open the Kangaroo Joey pocket should you want to. Rather than opening the sides, you can open here at the top, zip it down a little. And again, another point which might be key and important to quite a few of you is, when this comes down, there's no mesh in here. This is just purely open to the wind and the gods. There's no mesh in there. If you concern yourself with flies, insects, that sort of stuff, or just dirt and debris and whatever might possibly get in there, with this there is more of a chance of stuff getting in. So there you go. I mean, that is, or at least they are, the main differences. Now, just to prove, as I was saying, when I take this off, now I will lift it up just a little bit to make sure that my belly doesn't come out, but when I pull this off, just to make sure my belly doesn't come out too much. So I was looking at the camera then just to make sure that, yeah, it does pull your clothes just that extra little bit more, because the Dura canvas has no give in it whatsoever. The only give that is in that jacket is that rear panel, which again just gives you a little elasticity, whereas with the Mistral, throwing this on is a beauty. The one thing that I forgot to mention, which again might be important for some of you, and it's certainly something that Helikon-Tex definitely shout about as well, is, so with the Dura canvas on this, now it's not what you'd call fire resistant to the nth degree. You couldn't set fire to this and it wouldn't catch fire. If you're around a campfire and you're getting sparks, you're getting little spits off it, or you're getting embers, that sort of stuff. The Dura canvas on this is a lot more resistant to those little kind of small burns. That's not to say this isn't, but Helikon-Tex do make quite a large point out of the fact that the Dura canvas for those little flyaway embers, all of that sort of stuff, is definitely a lot more tougher than the VersaStretch. I haven't washed this yet. I haven't washed this. This I've owned now. This is the Tage, is it the Tage green or Tage green, whatever it's called. I've had this now for possibly more than 2 years. I have washed this several times. Now when I wash, I specifically make sure that I just hand wash in a light soap rather than putting this into a washing machine and using a strong detergent. And still, even after a couple of washes, the coating is still on there. It's starting to thin a little bit, or no, the coating is starting to thin. The actual material, the VersaStretch material on there is bomber. It really is. It's like brand new. It's like the day that I got it. All of the seamanship on there is immaculate. It's very similar with this one as well. There are no pulls. There are no loose stitches. Everything is to the exacting high quality that we expect from Helikon-Tex, and every single product that I've tested from them is up to those high standards, and yeah, very good. So now you have it. Hobson's choice. Which one do you go for? I hope today has helped. Now, as always, I am struggling to get through the comments. Maybe that's the success of the channel. So if it is that you have a question, I will try to get back to you. If there's a delay on that, I sincerely apologise, but I feel that it's right that I answer everybody's questions. So if you have any questions, maybe any of the differences between the two that you'd just like to double check with me, feel free to leave a comment below or a question. I 100% read everybody's comments, and yes, I try to get back to everybody. But if you have a question, yeah, feel free to ask. You know, I certainly love to help out my community, and yeah, answer any questions that you've got. Now I know what your first question is going to be. Which one do you prefer? And that is the hardest question. It's like which one of your children do you prefer? I think, and this is going to be the worst political, not really giving you an answer question, I actually appreciate having both of them. Wearing this through the winter, although it is more of a spring, summer, autumn style anorak, being able to have this, and it folds up a lot smaller than this one does. So folding this up, chucking it into my backpack, going into that conference hall where we were, and you know, being around all day, super light. And the level of breathability and just how light it is very, very nice. Taking this off, taking it on, taking it off, putting it back on again, very simple. I also like the durability of this when I'm out in the woods like this. Having this, especially in the winter, because it does fit ever so slightly larger than this one. Having this with another insulated layer underneath here, you know, it makes it a lot more practical and, you know, modular, so that you can kind of add to what's underneath. I've only had this now for about 4 months, and yeah, I really like this. It's okay, so it's 49% of me likes the Mistral, 51% of me likes this one. And that really is because this one just fits that ever so slightly bigger, so that I can put more underneath here. I think through the summer, which is coming up, wearing this, I think it's actually going to swing so that it's 50-50 between the two, and I will probably end up in a situation where during the summer I'll take this out, spring, summer, I'll take this out a lot more than I take this out, and then it comes to autumn, winter, I'll probably find I take this out a lot more than I take this out. And with them being so similar in the features, it's actually really good to have the two, because I'm not having to worry, oh, it's a different jacket, it's a different anorak, where's that pocket gone? Everything's in exactly the same place, which, yeah, I think is pretty good too. So, if you are watching Helikon-Tex, Hi. It's great seeing you guys when I was at IWA. That was awesome. And I know you guys are definitely watching. As far as Military First, I want to say thank you again to all of the team there. You guys rock, and yeah, I appreciate all the gear that you've been able to send to me over the years. Now, just as an extra public service announcement, so many of you may have seen this in previous content before, but I have started a second channel called Moorlander Tactical. Now, Moorlander EDC is dedicated to EDC and being outdoors. Moorlander Tactical is for the situations where I get a lot of companies and partners that I work with, and they go, oh, I really like what you did with that jacket, I really like what you did with that backpack. Hey, we've got this chest rig, or we've got this battle belt, or we've got one of these plate carriers, would you like to review one of those? Up until now, I've done the right thing and said I don't think that's right for Moorlander EDC. So I've started Moorlander Tactical, which means that whenever somebody says, would you like to try one of these on the sister channel, so Moorlander EDC will continue being my main focus, which will be EDC and outdoor gear, and Moorlander Tactical will be able to scratch that tactical itch that I've always have. I'm a massive gear nerd, and yes, so we are expanding as a family with Moorlander EDC and Moorlander Tactical. So yeah, I'll leave a link below so that you can see more from those. I'll also leave a link below so that you can see more from Military First. And as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Found a new little spot that's, it's just a little bit off the beaten track. It's quite a nice little area as well, sheltered from the wind. Started to wear like a little thing in here where it's not growing as much. I call it my Randy patch, which is completely different to what Mrs. Moorland calls my Randy patch. Hey, said the Pope to the Vicar, or no, is it the actress to the, I don't know, anyway. They are great jackets, they really are great. Anoraks, they are great anoraks. Yeah, I like them both. I like it a lot. I like them both. Go on, get out of here, you filthy perverts.